Hey everybody, Thomas here, and welcome back to SFF180. It is Monday, the 30th of May, and time, of course, for another mailbag. I hope you guys have had a good week, good weekend. It's been an interesting week on BookTube, has it not? I've got a little flurry of new subscribers have turned up, so welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for coming on board. Quick brief for those of you who are new. The Mailbag Monday series is one in which I open all of the packages I get every week, all the review copies that come in from publishers. I have no idea what's in these envelopes. I open them here on camera, we check them out together, and then you get to tell me in the comments which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, and which you would like to see me prioritize for review. Okay, no real announcements except to say that this coming Saturday, the 4th, is going to be, it's the big day. The BookTube SFF Awards are happening, the live show where we award our winners, the lucky winners. Now, all I know in terms of details so far is that it is going to be on the 4th, that's Saturday. Sam at Novels and Nonsense has agreed to host, so be sure to turn up, tune in for the live show. It's going to be a big dress-up extravaganza, probably like we did last year, loads of fun. Okay, now without further ado then, let's get into the books because I have a massive pile this week. And it's going to take a little time to get through, so I'm going to try to knock it all out very efficiently for you. And the first thing, I'm gonna start with this big one right here, as you see. A massive beginning of the month, beginning of June package, and I bet you can guess who it's from. Yeah, that's right. I think this is going to be all of, or most of, the June paperback releases for a lot of the Random Penguin imprints, Ace, Rock, and DOS. So this envelope really barely survived the mail. Yeah, let's dig into it, see what it's got, okay? Holy cow. They stuffed, I'm not kidding you, 5 mass market paperbacks and 5 hardcovers in a giant padded mailer. The thing is lucky it got here without blowing up. Anyway, I'm going to go through the paperbacks first. We have the mass market edition of The Liar's Key, which is the second book in the Red Queen's War series by Mark Lawrence. We have The Price of Valor in mass market, the third Shadow Campaign novel by Django Wexler. We have Nova, science fiction novel from DAW by Margaret Fortune. This has been out in hardcover, and I got that version. But it basically says, let me give you the rundown here. The clock activates so suddenly in my mind, my head involuntarily jerks a bit to the side. The fog vanishes, dissipated in an instant, as though it never was. Memories come slotting into place, their edges sharp enough to leave furrows, and suddenly I know exactly who I am. A genetically engineered human bomb. Okay, so, SF from DAW, Margaret Fortune, Nova in mass market, and the paperback version of From a High Tower by Mercedes Lackey, and this is the most recent, or perhaps the second most recent now, novel in her Elemental Masters fantasy series. And finally, we have Vicki Peterson Rebel, which is the newest in Mike Shepard's action-packed spin-off series from his Chris Longknife science fiction / action series, paperback original. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Vicki Peter Wald Rebel. All right, and that wraps it up for the mass market paperbacks. Now, among the hardcovers for June, this is from Rock. This is Destroyer Men, Blood in the Water by Taylor Anderson. This is the newest in his very, very long-running and ongoing alternate history kind of, war action series. Taylor Anderson, let me see, has done now, this is something like book 11 or something like that. But I guess the premise is, the guys go, cross through a warp into another alternate Earth or something like that. And so, Blood in the Water is now out, as is The Wheel of Oshime in hardcover by Mark Lawrence, and this is the third book in his Red Queen's War series. Let's see, I don't want to, I guess, read too much in the way that could be spoilers, but, a reluctant prince returns from the bowels of hell to engage in his greatest battle yet among the living and the dead. I should give Mark Lawrence a second try, because I remember when his very, very first novel came out, Prince of Thorns, and it was getting rave upon rave upon rave upon rave, as being like just the ne plus ultra of great grimdark fantasy series, and I read it and didn't really care for it. I didn't think it was all that great, but he's kept going. Lots of folks, whose opinions I respect, seem to think very highly of this guy, so I should give him another chance now that he has had several books out. But The Wheel of Oshime, now out in hardcover. See, this is what happens when you cram, 5, 10 books in a single envelope. Gift horses and all that, but still, Come on, guys. Next up in hardcover is Dr. DOA. This is the latest in the urban fantasy series by Simon R. Green, his Secret Histories novel. All I know about these is, well, there are several of them, and then a lot of the titles have like are spoofy riffs on James Bond titles. So there's been Demons Are Forever and The Spy Who Haunted Me and For Heaven's Eyes Only, and ha ha ha, right? But I guess if you like Simon R. Green and you like this sort of thing, Dr. DOA is now out this month from Rock. And A Study in Sable is the newest Elemental Masters fantasy series from the writing juggernaut that is Mercedes Lackey. This woman puts out book after book after book after book. She's like, Harry Turtledove and Ellie Modesett Jr. That's just one of these writers that just keeps pumping them out with tireless energy. And so this is the newest in a popular series of hers, A Study in Sable from Daw Books. And finally, we have The Suicide Motor Club by Christopher Buehlman. This appears to be something that's rather horror-ish, vaguely horror-ish. Let's see what this is all about. Yeah, I've received a couple of books before from Buehlman, and he does that sort of thing. This one goes, remember that car that passed you near midnight on Route 66, doing 105 with its lights off. You wondered where it was going so quickly on that dark, dusty stretch of road, motor roaring, the driver glancing out the window as he blew by. Did his greedy eyes shine like a coyote's? Did he make you feel like prey? You can't remember now. You just saw the founder of the Suicide Motor Club. Be grateful his brake lights never flashed. Be grateful his car was already full. They roam America, littering the highways with smashed cars and bled-out bodies, a gruesome reflection of the unsettled 60s. But to anyone unlucky enough to meet them in the lonely hours of the night, they're just a blurry memory. That is, to all but one. 2 years ago, they left a witness in the mangled wreck of her family car, her husband dying, her son taken. She remembers their awful faces, despite their tricks and glamours, and she's coming for them, her thirst for vengeance, even more powerful than their hunger for blood. So, yeah, there you go. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot in the way of supernatural elements to that, but The Suicide Motor Club is a new horror from Christopher Buehlman this June. And that was a serious stack of books right there, from all jammed up into one package. But we're not done yet. Here are more Random Penguin titles. Okay, then, this is the finished copy of a book that I got last week, I believe, or the week before at the very earliest. No, I think last week, in ARC form. And this is the finished copy of Kirsten White's And I Darken. Now, as you may remember last time, this is a young adult, and it's sort of a... There's a love triangle, which, none of us are probably all that happy about, but it says it's a gender-swapped and kind of feminist take on Vlad the Impaler, the inspiration for Dracula. Set in the Ottoman Empire, Vlad the Brutal Prince is now Lada, the Brutal Princess. Lada, Radu the Handsome, and Mehmed the Conqueror are locked in a poisonous love triangle, and their ruthless ambitions second only to their passion for one another. And I Darken's atmospheric setting is rife with political intrigue, its deftly plotted narrative driven by fiercely determined characters, epic in scope and intimate in execution. The novel examines the atrocities we commit in the name of country, love, and religion. Heads will roll, bodies will be impaled, and hearts will be broken. And it's the first in a series called The Conqueror's Saga, and I gotta say that if you have to write, absolutely have to write about love triangles, you might as well throw in a few impalings, right? So And I Darken comes out June the 28th in hardcover from Delacorte Press. Moving on, we have a little package from St. Martin's Press. Usually these are Tor titles, and it's a thin one, and if it's another copy of... No, it's not. Okay, hang on. What could this be? I was going to say I thought it might be another copy of Madeline Ashby's Company Town, but it's not. This is another book in the Pathfinder series, based on the popular tabletop game. This is by Tim Pratt, who is a superb fantasy writer, by the way. Pathfinder tells Liar's Bargain. This comes out June the 7th as a Tor trade paperback, and so yeah, this is an epic fantasy world, around which quite a popular tabletop RPG has been constructed. And let's see, what can I tell you? For charming conman Roderick and his talking sword Herein, life is all about taking what you can and getting away clean. But when the pair are arrested in the Crusader nation of Lastwall, Roderick faces immediate execution, with Herein spending the rest of eternity trapped in an enchanted scabbard. Their only hope lies in a secret government program in which captured career criminals are teamed up and sent on suicide missions, too sensitive for ordinary soldiers. Trapped between an almost certain death and actual certain death, the two join forces with a team of rogues and scoundrels ready to serve their year-long tenure as best they can. Yet not everyone in their party is what they seem, and a death sentence may only be the start of the friends' problems. Okay, I don't normally read tie-in novels, but I have read some Tim Pratt before, and I can tell you that he has a sharp wit, a very Lynchian, Scott Lynchian wit. And so, all right, this comes out the first week of June from Tor. It says June the 7th. And here's one from HarperCollins. And it is the finished copy of The Long Cosmos. This is the final book in the Long Earth series, a collaboration between the late Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter. As I understand, these books tend to be a little bit closer to Baxter's sensibility than Pratchett's. So, if you're getting into this because you're a Terry Pratchett fan and you expect Discworld hijinks, you're not quite going to get that. But it is, in any event, it says, this one ruminates over the greatest existential question of all: what is the meaning of life? And 2070 to 71, it is nearly 6 decades after Step Day, and new society continues to evolve out in the long Earth. And a message has been received, one that says, join us. So if you have been following this series all along, and you're very excited to see the wrap-up, this comes out in hardcover June the 14th. Okay, moving right along, another Random Penguin package. Feels like a big ol' heavy hardcover. And this is it, finished copy of League of Dragons. This is Naomi Novik's final Temeraire novel. And this comes out on the 14th of June. It says, let's see, okay, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but as you all know, this is the Napoleonic Dragon Saga. It says, with the acclaimed Temeraire novels, New York Times bestselling author Naomi Novik has created a fantasy series like no other, combining the high-flying appeal of Anne McCaffrey's Pern Saga and the swashbuckling daring-do of Patrick O'Brien's historical seafaring adventures. Now, with League of Dragons, Novik brings the imaginative tour de force that has captivated millions to an unforgettable finish. All right, then. The last book on the 14th, League of Dragons. And one more, who's this? Yeah, more Random Penguin, House of Penguins. Let's see what we have. More paperbacks, and here we have the trade paperback edition of Queen of Fire. This is the third, I believe, novel in Anthony Ryan's Raven's Shadow series. This is an epic fantasy series that has been getting a bit of a mixed reaction from readers and reviewers. Okay, oh yeah, it's a trilogy, so third and final book. The ally is there, but only ever as a shadow. Unexplained catastrophe or murder committed at the behest of a dark and vengeful spirit. So this is now out. If you're an Anthony Ryan fan and you have been waiting for the final book in paperback, it is now available in June. And also, here we have the first American publication in paperback with actually a rather similar cover of a book called The Invisible Library. The author is Genevieve Cogman. And I actually got the UK edition that came out from Tor UK, and it sounds really neat. Listen to this. Irene is a professional spy for the Mysterious Library, a shadowy organization that collects important works of fiction from all the different realities. Most recently, she and her enigmatic assistant, Kai, have been sent to an alternative London. Their mission, retrieve a particularly dangerous book. The problem? By the time they arrive, it's already been stolen. London's underground factions are prepared to fight to the death to find the tome before Irene and Kai do. A problem compounded by the fact that this world is chaos-infested. The laws of nature bent to allow supernatural creatures and unpredictable magic to run rampant. To make matters worse, Kai is hiding something. Secrets that could be just as volatile as the chaos-filled world itself. Sounds a lot like the thing that might appeal to you if you really enjoyed the books of, say, Vicky Schwab, Darker Shade of Magic and that sort of thing. But anyway, Invisible Library is now out in the US from Rock Books in June. And finally, last one of the week, and this is a book that looks to be from Saga. And this is a little thing called Mechanical Failure. The author is Joe Zaja. I know that name is going to be a tongue twister for me, I know it is. But listen here, it says, what you have in your hands is the funniest science fiction novel outside of the Hitchhiker's trilogy. I'll go further. There is one particular robot that is funnier than Marvin. Okay, Saga, you're building my expectations up here. All right, well anyway, there I said it, and this is from a guy who is a happy towel-carrying, 42-loving fan. This book is so funny that our copy editor wrote to me to tell me how much he was laughing while working on it. On my 7th and final edit of the book, I was still giggling. So, I guess it's a funny space opera. Right on. Okay, Let's see, mechanical failure. The 200 years and counting peace is a time of tranquility that hasn't been seen since, well, never. Mankind in the Galactic Age finally conquered war, so what was left for the military to do but drink and barbecue? That's the kind of military that Sergeant R. Wilson Rogers lived in before he left the fleet to become a smuggler. But it turns out that smuggling is hard. Like getting arrested for dealing with pirates and forced back into service kind of hard. Doesn't seem so bad. The military was a perpetual tiki party anyway, but when Roger returns after only a year away, something has changed. There are soldiers. Actual soldiers doing actual soldier things, like preparing for a war that Rogers is sure doesn't exist. Rogers vows to put a stop to all this nonsense, even if it means doing actual work. Okay, well then, if you've been looking for some funny space opera and military SF, to say the least, there's not a whole lot of that in science fiction. So this might be a welcome addition. What do you think? Let me know. Mechanical Failure by Joe Zija. Alright, you guys, that is it. That's all I got for this week's mailbag. A big beginning of the month pile from all the Random Penguin imprints has come in, so that could be very exciting. Like I said, light those comments up. Let me know which of these books you want to know more about, okay? And don't forget, this coming Saturday, the 4th, the BookTube SFF Awards, the big ceremony. All right, so get yourself a glass of wine, put on, a nice frock or a tuxedo if you have one, or just pretend you are doing that. And join us on Saturday afternoon for that live show. And otherwise, please hit the like button if you enjoyed watching, share the video far and wide with all your SFF reading friends, and above all, please sub if you have not done so. That is how SFF180 grows as a channel. And until I see you all next time, happy reading.